It's skate date. Chev won't let me talk because I sound like a smoker.
There, the first round, she said, "Welcome to skate date. I'm now a cigarette smoker. I smoke about 2 packs a day." Bowie.
Oh my lord. No, I just have nodes. Don't come after me.
Anyways, welcome to skate date.
Welcome to skate date.
We are a podcast, and that's why you're listening.
Oh, that's what we're doing. I thought we just came out here and hung out in our garage once a week.
That would suck.
That would suck, just to hang out in our garage once a week?
And just, like, hang out in a garage and, like, have a mic in our face and a camera on, just hanging out.
That's how the Kardashians feel. That's why this is their last season.
Womp womp. We'll miss you. Not.
Did you ever even watch the Kardashians?
Yeah, I used to when I was, like, depressed. I was like, I need to feel better about myself, so I'd watch the Kardashians. But anyways, let's get back on track. What is Skate Date?
Skate Date is a podcast made by 2 roller skaters who fell in love.
And then out of love?
No.
Just kidding, we're still in love.
What the hell? 2 roller skaters fell in love, and then we're like, let's make a baby. But they couldn't make a baby, so then they were like, let's make a podcast instead. It seemed like a way more feasible option to end 2020 with. And so now here we are, continuing with our baby for the next 18 years.
I'm Courtney Shove.
And I'm Rebel Rouse Her Shove.
What? And together we are Shovel.
Can you dig it?
Not anymore. Not after that.
She's Courtney Shove Rouse Her.
What? No hyphens, not taking your name. F the patriarchy. Well, in this case, F the matriarchy.
What? Why would you say that? That's so rude to the matriarchy. Wow. The matriarchy doesn't need any more hate.
Oh my gosh, so guess what, y'all?
What?
I just found out today. You said what? Like, you're y'all? You already know.
Oh.
It's so funny. So I'm like outside and I'm like doing that thing where you come from work and you just sit in your car and you're just like decompressing and you're like, oh, I can't go inside yet. Or is that just me? Anyway, so I see my roommate getting dropped off by her partner. And she's like, oh, I forgot my keys. I'm like, oh, I need to go inside anyway. So I'm walking in. I'm like, how's your day? And she's like, oh, I just got my shot. Like, me and my partner just got our first vaccine shot. And I was like, what the hell?
Hey.
Because we kept talking about how she was probably going to be the last one in the household. Like, I would be next and then her. And I'm the last one. And, I could not stand for that. My Capricorn energy was like, you cannot be the last one. Like, I'm still the last one, but I'm like, I can't just be like chilling till summer. Unvaccinated while these 2 are out just gallivanting, like high-fiving strangers and licking doorknobs. I don't know.
Ew, nobody did that before the pandemic. Why would we start now?
Because people are going to be wilded out. Like, germs who? Like,
who is she? We don't know her.
Exactly. So, may have finessed the system somehow that I will not talk about exactly in details. But that kind of lit a fire under my tushy, and now I have an appointment because I remembered I also have insurance, so I will go to Kaiser and get my first vaccine shot this Thursday.
And you'll knock on the door and you'll do the truffle shuffle and they'll be like, all right.
I'm like, hey, I'm fat. And they're like, that doesn't count in California. I'm like, wah, wah.
No, it does count. I actually looked.
It does?
I was looking for it. Yeah, after we did that episode when we were editing and stuff, I was like, okay, so what about obesity? So I was on the California thing and they were like, pre-existing conditions like obesity. And I was like, ha ha.
So that means if they're like, this paperwork looks a little suspicious, a little sus.
You'll be like, does my fat look like suspicious?
I'll wear this sweatshirt that says fat icon. Amazing. And some booty shorts. Make sure all my cottage shoes showing. I'm like, this is not a fat suit. Give me the damn shot.
This is not a fat suit.
And then, babe, what's going on with you in the vaccine this week?
On Thursday, I'm getting my second vaccine.
Whoop, whoop.
Yay! And hopefully not getting too sick on it because I have a photo shoot the next day.
It's only supposed to be like 12 hours, so you should be good.
I'll be fine.
But yeah, here's to us getting one step closer to that
sweet life of freedom.
Skating around, still in a mask for a while, but still like not being afraid, not having panic attacks.
It sucks that I'm going to be fully vaccinated, but I still can't skate.
Yeah, you'll get there though.
I'll get there. It's okay.
All right, we have a great episode for you.
Yeah, we're going to talk about burnout.
Like potheads? The burnouts in school?
No, like when you have candles that are all around your house because it's kind of cold, and then you leave them on all day long, and then they burn out.
Oh, I thought that was like a dark twist, and you're like, and then the house catches on fire, and you wake up dead in your body's barbecue.
So you're burnt out.
Yeah, and then we're going to talk about skate teams. What are they good for?
Absolutely nothing. Just kidding. I don't know if they're actually good for absolutely nothing. Guess you'll have to wait until the Wheel World segment.
First, we have our fake ads because no one wants to pay us.
Our fake ads are a replacement for, it's just like they're like a holder for when either we finally figure out that sponsorship app that like a bunch of podcasters use, or you sponsor us. And trust me, we like to rep you before we like to rep randos. So contact us at skatedatepodcast@gmail.com if you want us to rep your stuff. Oh, shop! It's time to do skate date!
Shh, Bowie, stop snoring. Your mom's going to find us.
There you are. What are you doing?
Babe, I'm so tired. Do we have to do skate date?
Yes, babe. The people demand their weekly dose of shovel.
But babe, I worked packing skates all day. I did Moxie Skate Daily. I edited a skate clip. I filmed your Queer Girl Straight Skates episode. And spent 2 hours on TikTok.
Well, babe, I got the thing for you. You know how Bowie gets the zoomies when we come home?
Yeah, he's a total spaz. A ball of energy.
Exactly. Well, now they make zoomies juice.
Wait, who's they? And tell me more.
You know, they. Anyways, it's a shot of energy that makes you go, 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 go. Pop. Go.
Any side effects?
Well, you might run in a circle trying to bite your own tail.
Meh, give it to me.
Zoomy juice. It gets your tail wagging. That was stupid. I liked it though.
At first I had go-go juice and I was like, wait, that's a real thing that like moms would create for their little toddlers and tiaras. And it was like it was like a pixie stick poured into like
High C.
No, it was like 7-Up. It was like some kind of caffeinated soda. And they add sugar to it. And they'd make them down it right before they performed.
Oh my god, that sounds like... I don't know. That's really shady.
Child abuse.
Yeah. I was just going to say that I wanted one and then I decided, no, maybe not. That's a bad idea. I feel like if you mixed like an energy drink, like a Red Bull, and a Gatorade, I feel like that's like the 30-year-old version of go-go juice. Because it's like replenishing your body, but it's also like giving you the energy.
AKA Four Loko, first round before they changed the law. When there was caffeine.
Oh my gosh.
And malt liquor.
When I was younger, I used to, because I competed in speech and debate, and I had to stay up super late and like be on top of my game and like have lots and lots of energy. I used to just all the time just be like, all I ate today was energy drinks and coffee and like Luna bars. And I was like...
That's what we call an eating disorder.
The human equivalent to zoomies.
Oh my gosh. All right. I think it's time we jump on into the real world. So, babe, what is burnout?
Burnout is when you're going, and then all of a sudden you stop. Because you can't do it anymore.
You stop because you want to?
No, you stop because you literally can't. Your body stops you. Your body and your mind and your physical body, both of them just stop you.
So one time I remember, like, it was the first time, like, I think I was experiencing what I consider burnout, like, around you. And I told you, like, I just will really burn out. And you were, like, super dramatic. You're like, oh my God. Like, are you okay? Blah, blah. And I was like, whoa, I've never had this reaction when I'm like, I'm burned out. And you were like, well, in other countries, like, burnout has a very strong, significant, like, meaning. So can you let the people know the difference between Americans, use of the word burnout and like what it's like in other places you've lived.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's exactly what I was planning on talking about. So I lived in the Netherlands for a little bit, and when I was there, I had a friend who talked about, like, she had a burnout, and I also had a friend from Sweden who also talked about, like, having a burnout, and they talk about burnout like it's an actual illness. Like, the way they refer to burnout, like, they are like, hey, you don't want to get burnout, and they will send you to the doctor. You'll have to take months off to recover. Like, they're very, very serious about burnout and not having burnout. Like, they see it as this horrible, horrible thing. And it really honestly changed my perspective of burnout, because I used to think like, yeah, you burn out, whatever, which is just very much so the American perspective. And then I went there and they were like, oh, like, burnout is horrible. Like, it ruins so many things. Like, it drains you and like ruins your body, and you're clearly not existing in like your ideal state if you're ending up in burnout. And they will do so much as like, you can say you're burning out, like you're about to have a burnout, and they'll like let you take days off school or off work. Like,
that's
what?
Why I
that's
constantly
not
say
at
America,
all real in America.
Yeah, that's why I constantly say, like, America is not number one. Like, there might be things where definitely are, like, more privileges in other country, but specifically when it comes to, like, anything to do with, like, healthcare, whether it's mental health, mental or physical, we are, like, so far behind.
Yeah, I was so blown away by that. And yeah, if you are not from the United States, here, burnout is like, you know, brunch. Like, it's like everyone is burned out because the culture is like, go, go, go.
It's like pop a pill, drink a Red Bull, take a 5-minute nap, and just keep going, because that's what you have to do. Just keep going, and then, like, just deal with it later.
It's because the United States culture, it, like, glamorizes being overworked. And, like, because the whole culture is centered around this idea of, like, achieving the American dream and working your butt off all the time to get there.
Yeah, it's like we don't take sick days. Well, like, first of all, the government doesn't even offer us, like, state or federal, like, so many, it's like, what, 72 sick days a year or something
and, like,
ridiculous.
And, like, you're lucky if you get that many sick days.
Yeah, so, like, even in the time of COVID, where it's like, well, now you take 2 weeks off, like, you're not even going to be covered for that. But yeah, so, like, you, even if you were covered with that, it's like, we want it. I feel like there's so many times, like, I know I personally, or people at work were like, I need money, and we just go to work sick.
Many times, yeah.
And, like, run in the bathroom, have a cough attack, a sneeze attack.
Throw up,
keep going back to work, because that's just, like, what you do. Whether you were, like, just, like, your family's been American the whole time, or, like, just as much, if not more. Sometimes I notice with my coworkers whose parents were, like, their first generation, because they see how hard their parents are working and got them over here, that they feel like they have to make sure that they don't take for granted what their parents are doing, so then they work super hard here.
Yeah, definitely.
I was gonna say, like, what's that thing in Japan? Like, they made up a word for it because people were working themselves to death.
Oh, wow.
You never heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I don't really know what the word is.
Yeah, like, the stress is so good to be, like, the businessman and, like, keep going, that, like, people will just, like, die on the train. And, like, because they're so, and I just imagine, like, that's what ultimate burnout is, like, the whole, like, what do they call it? Like, a thing where it's, like, the Japanese businessman archetype.
Oh, yeah, I guess archetype, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's an archetype, like the Japanese businessman, and it's, like, someone that's, like, constantly working, going to all the meetings, and, like, gone all day, and then, like, yeah, and then they had to make up a word for it because it was happening so often, like, dying of exhaustion.
Yeah, it's wild. I definitely know that prior to the pandemic, probably not now, I think the pandemic probably is going to change a lot of things, but, like, my bosses used to guilt me, like, make me feel guilty if I was calling out sick. You know, their first assumption is you're not sick. Their first assumption, no matter what, is you're not actually sick, you're faking it. And the next thing is, oh, how bad is it? You know, like, can you just come in And, you know, then they'll go on and guilt you about, like, people having to cover or not being understaffed or whatever. And that was when I was working at a restaurant. Like, what?
It's like that meme where it's like, when it's all like, hey, I died. And then, or like, you're calling into work from heaven and you're like, hey, I died, I can't come into work today. And they're like, the boss texts us back, like, did you find coverage?
Yeah. That's so true.
But, like, can you still come in?
That's so true. Like, that's it's funny because that's really happening, you know, and happens all the time.
How have you experienced burnout?
I have experienced burnout not to the extreme that I think I've seen other people experience burnout. I do definitely burn out, and I think that I experienced a lot of burnout actually right before the world closed. So I think
yes, you did.
1 year ago, I was experiencing burnout really, really bad, and it's because I was working at 3 schools and then 2 other little jobs. And then I was also doing like YouTube and skating and all sorts of stuff. And the 3 jobs I was working, the teaching jobs, I was going to 3 different schools every day. And so I was on the road for like 4 hours driving at least every day. And I would leave the house at like 6 something, and I wouldn't come back until like 10:30 at night. And I was also playing derby. I forgot derby.
You're forgetting derby.
Yeah, I was also playing derby, and derby was stressing me out because they were like, you need to be at all these practices. If you're not at all these practices, like, they weren't taking me working my job as an excuse. They were like, sorry, you can't play, you know, bouts, and you have to make up these practices during these other times that I was also working. So it was just like, it was a lot, and I was super overwhelmed. I was totally lashing out at Shove. I was randomly crying, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I have to do something about it. And luckily, like, it's like luckily, but not luckily, obviously, because COVID isn't lucky. But luckily, like, the world shut down, because I don't know that I would have been able to make it through that semester.
Yeah, you were forced to slow down. Like, you didn't have an option. And, like, I hope that you take what you learned. Well, first of all, let's back up. I hope that jobs and America as a whole, and like the American lifestyle, learns that like maybe we need more sick days. Like, no, for sure we need more sick days, but also like, hey, just don't go to work. It's worth like sacrificing those tips you're gonna make that day, or like, don't worry about getting other people sick. Like, if you're sick, like, you're gonna see now how everything's connected, and like your choices are affecting other people now. And then for you, babe, personally, I hope that now, like, when the world's opened up, you're not going to just keep saying yes to every single opportunity and job that approaches you. Because I feel like in the past, that's what always happens. And you're always like, I'm at my breaking point. Like, if one more thing gets added, the bow's going to break. And then, like, someone will be like, hey, Rebel, do you want to blah, blah, blah? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that roots from, like, a few things, right? Like, it roots from, one, growing up in a poor household and being told, like, anything that offers you money you can't say no to, right? So, like, any job you're offered, you have to accept. And it also roots from, like, my desire to be successful, and me being told in the job that I want to eventually have, like, I've been told that my resume needs to be so freaking packed because I'm competing against a bunch of people, like hundreds of people, for like a very small amount of jobs that open up every couple of years. And so I've just, you know, I was in that mindset of like, I have to do this, and this is my time. I just have to hustle, and eventually it'll get better. But what I started to realize over this time that, like, obviously I've been taking a little bit slower, is that, like, before that, I was in grad school and I was hustling all the time. And then before that, I was in undergrad and I was still hustling all the time. And I've worked consistently through all of my schooling. And before that, you know, I was at community college and working there too. And so it's just like, is that just how my life is going to be? Like, is my life just going to be consumed with work and that's it? And I feel like that's not worth it. So,
you're gonna hustle your way right into that grave.
yeah, and I don't agree with that lifestyle anymore.
For sure.
What about you? What's your experience with burnout?
I feel like for me, like, burnout is like in and out because I feel like I don't like to have to do a lot of things. Like, I easily get stressed out and overwhelmed when there's too much going on. And my too much going on is, like, nowhere near Rebel's too much going on, if that makes sense. Like, for me, it's like, I just want to work, come home, chill, do what I want to do. Maybe, like, one or two things on my list. I don't want to have a 10 thing a day list like Rebel does. Like, that's just overwhelming to me. And then Saturday, like, knock some stuff out, run some errands, do it. And then Sunday, I want to do nothing. If I don't have that day of rest, or like there's like multiple things that have happened in that week that are on top of work, I find myself like easily crying over anything. I feel super drained. I don't want to, I'm irritable. I don't want to like do anything. Like, it's just like, I'm not creative. I can't come up with anything. It's just like, I feel literally like tapped out. Like,
Yeah.
like I feel like this emotionally, intellectually, like everything just comes to a halt. Like, I'm not doing well at work. Like, I won't speak during the meetings. Like, I can't think of what to come up for skate date. Just, it bleeds through. So I get like when you say like, in the Netherlands that like, people are like, you can't even go to work because you're not going to thrive. You're not going to be where we need you to be, because that's how I feel. It's just like everything breaks down. And then I desperately, I'm just like, I need a day to do nothing. So like right now we had like, there were too many gigs we had to do. And then we went away for the weekend. And then it was like work again. Now it's skate date. Then tomorrow when I come from work, I'll have to edit skate date. Wednesday, hopefully I'll get to rest. But then all I can do is like, come on, Wednesday. And then even then I'm like, oh, it's not like a full day though. So then I start spinning out just thinking about like, when will I relax? And then I'm like, we have a photo shoot on Friday. So then I just start spinning out.
I think that one way to deal with it is to kind of cope with, like, stopping yourself from letting yourself spin out. Because I know that, like, for me, when I find myself writing and then rewriting my list because I can't figure out what to do next, and I feel like I'm like drowning, like I feel like I'm circling the drain and like freaking out. And the one way that I'm able to like get out of that is to really be like, stop everything and just be in the moment and just exist for a second, whether that's like meditating for a minute or just like noticing some things around me. Like, practicing mindfulness actually really helps me when I am drowning or feel like I'm drowning.
Look at you taking those buzzwords that our therapist used.
I know, but like, it's actually really helped me a lot. And I feel like that's one way that you can cope with that, is just to like stop the thoughts as much as possible for a second.
I know, like, yeah, it's all like mind over matter, but I think it's also like, maybe just chill. Like, why am I doing so much stuff? Like, my mindfulness is like, why am I doing this? Like, does this bring me joy? Like, why? Like, why do I keep adding things to it, you know? Or it's like, and that's why it's so important. Like, I told her, well, like, I have to have my Sundays. Like, I think, like, now she gets it, but, like, that Sunday, like, that scheduled every week, I'm guaranteed to have a day where it's just, like, me in silence or doing whatever weird stuff I want to do. It's, like, privacy, like, own little bubble means so much, because that's, like, me plugging into a charger and, like, just re-upping. So now I can be good for the week again. And I feel like as soon as that slips away, it's just, like, people are taking handfuls of me, and then like by the time I do get that rest, I feel like there's nothing left, and then even that day is like not as nice as it could be.
That makes sense.
Yeah. All right, babe. So we kind of talked about like how to cope and avoid burnout, but like, are there any, like, what would be your advice to people that are like, I think I'm experiencing burnout?
Take something off your plate.
What if they can't?
You can. Period. If you are experiencing burnout, there is something you can take off your plate.
What if you're like a mom with 3 kids and all your kids are in sports, but you also have to have a job?
Why are all your kids in sports?
You're just going to take your kid out of sports? You're like, well, little Timmy, you don't need to play soccer.
No, here's the thing. If your kid's in sports, then your kid gets dropped off at sports at some point. And what are you doing with that time? Are you taking it for yourself, or are you trying to, like, maintain a perfectly clean household, too?
No, you have to be there to cheer your kid on.
No, you don't. That's the thing. You don't have to. Like, there are things that you can take off of your plate. You cannot be the perfect version of whatever it is that you're trying to be. Take that from someone who always wants to be the perfect version of everything. Like, I literally want to be the perfect teacher. I want to be the perfect girlfriend. I want to be the perfect YouTuber. I want to be the perfect skater. I want to be the perfect dog mom. Like, I want to have a clean house all the time. I want to be making enough money that I can spend it and also save it and also be learning about investing. Like, I want all of these things, and, like, if I am real with myself, I do not have to be achieving all of those things all of the time. And so when I realize that I'm reaching burnout, which happens to me more than I think it happens to anyone else that I know, because I'm a psychopath who just always puts too much on her plate. Like, I literally don't know how to not have too much on my plate. I have to reevaluate and take things off my plate, like quitting a job, or, you know, lowering my expectations in a certain area, or communicating to my partner and telling her that I can't do X, Y, and Z, which she really didn't expect me to do anyways. I put that expectation on myself.
Whoa. That was a lot, and I like it. It was like you were unloading some personal things there. But I think that's great advice. Where you were going about, like, to drop something. So let's say, like, you're somebody that has to work 2 jobs, and you're struggling. You're like in community college. Like, you don't. That's all that's burning you out, and you just don't know. Like, you literally can't drop anything. What's a way to avoid, or, like, kind of find that mindfulness you were talking about? Like, what do you think they can do?
Honestly, it's about finding those small pockets of time that you're given and making the most out of them, not being productive in those moments. So, like, you have a 15-minute break at work, you go walk outside and look at the flowers, or, like, sit down and rest your eyes for a second. Mm-hmm. It's like you are in class and you try and just pay attention to what's going on. You don't worry about, like, you don't let yourself spin out on all the other things you need to be doing. Something that I would constantly be doing when I was at community college, when I was working 2 jobs and was also trying to, like, deal with everything that was going on with my family, is I would just be sitting in class. I'd be half paying attention to the person who was lecturing, and then I would be thinking about all the things that I needed to be doing. And that made me spiral worse. And so I would constantly be in this spot where, like, I was never just sitting and doing one thing. Like, even though, yeah, my life was packed, and yeah, I couldn't drop any bit of my life, I could stop my mind from racing as much as it was when I was at all the other things. Mm-hmm. If you're at work serving tables and you're thinking about, you know, whatever is going on at home, then your brain and your body is doing twice the work than it needs to be. And by just being at work when you're at work, or just being at home when you're at home, even though you're not taking anything off your plate, you're letting your body breathe.
That's really good advice. And on that note, I think we should go to the Will World. So there were skate teams. There are skate teams.
Yep.
And it's kind of like, I think when I was a new skater, you two, like, we knew, oh my gosh, to be on a skate team one day, it felt like it's a little baby skater goal. Like, one day I'm going to be a great, amazing skater. I'm going to make it onto a skate team.
Yeah.
And these skate teams, once you, like, get more into it, or, like, the more grown you are, whether, like, age-wise or just, like, skating-wise, you see that skate teams are really just marketing.
Yeah. They're literally just, like, ways to have cool skaters do tricks in specific skates.
Yeah, it's like if you have a team and they're under your brand name, that's like a good way to market. And like it's like skateboard teams. I don't even know. It's crazy. It's like I don't even like yeah, they're skateboard teams. Yeah, I literally am just like I don't know. I know there's like sponsored skateboarders. Yeah, I think they're skateboard teams, right?
I don't know.
That's us being like we're quad life.
Sorry, I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know.
You probably know, and you're like, what the hell, Shovel? So that's like a whole nother world. We're in skate date as in roller skate date, not skateboarder skate date. But
not that skateboarders aren't welcome. You're totally welcome. We just don't know much.
Yeah, and I just feel like it gets kind of out there because I've like talked to other skaters about this, and like they're like, did Moxie start this? Because there was like the Moxie skate team, and that was around for like a decade. And but then it was just like then it was like Antic skate team, and then there's Kaya skate team, but then it got weird because then it was like Gumball toe stop skate team,
and like
how,
radar wheel team.
like how do you have a skate team after a wheel or a toe stop?
I don't know. I remember when we first started skating, we were like, we're the Moxie D team.
Oh, yeah. And that was like more like F team.
We're like the F team, the Moxie F team skaters.
Yeah, they're like backflipping and sliding rails. And we're like, I jumped off a curb. Look at me. Look at me skating down a hill.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to actually make it on the Moxie skate team when it was a thing. And I remember when it happened, I was like in disbelief because I was like, oh my gosh, I always want to. And then it went into like imposter syndrome because I was like, what? I'm a mediocre skater. Like, how did I make it? But it was because the Moxie skate team wasn't just about like what tricks you could do. It was about what you did in the skate community. Like basically like who you were as a person, and like you had Moxie, like it was like in you. And I thought it was such an amazing thing. I only made it on for like a year because they disbanded it because they realized like that skate teams just aren't needed, which we'll go into in a little bit. I want to talk about Rebel's opportunity that she had.
Yeah, so I got offered the opportunity to be on a skate team. Should I name them? I don't know.
Why can't you name it?
Okay. I was offered the opportunity to be on Antic skate team, and it came at a time where I felt like I needed validation. And I was super excited and was like stoked that, you know, someone saw me skating and thought I was good enough to like be on a skate team because, you know, Shove had been on a skate team and I was like, I'm good too. But I never felt like, I don't know, I always feel like people like picked Shove over me for everything. And so Antic reached out to me and they were like, we want you to be on our skate team. And I really thought about it, like really, really, really thought about it. And it was more that I was just like stoked to be even considered or asked or to know that people even thought about me. But I ended up saying no. And the reason why I said no is because I had already had my YouTube at that point, and I was already of the opinion that I wanted to be as unbiased as I possibly could be because I was doing a lot of reviews, and I just felt like I wanted my followers to trust me, you know, like I didn't want them to think that I was selling a specific brand or lying to them about things. And so I turned it down, even though they offered me cool stuff.
You would have only been able to skate in them.
Yeah. Too. Also, they were like, oh, you can only skate in Antics. And I was like, ugh, because I really, really like my Moxie Jack boots. Like, if someone told me you can only skate in the Moxie Jack boots, I'd be like, okay, like, I'm fine. Like, those are the only skates that I really, like, consistently skate in anyways. But yeah, so they were like, oh, you can only skate in our skates for a year. And I was like, I don't know about that. And so I ultimately turned it down, and I just felt like there was someone out there that would have been like so stoked to get that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make sure that someone else had that opportunity because I do have other opportunities, not to be on skate teams or anything, but just like to do other things. And so, yeah, so that was my one chance encounter with a skate team offer.
You know, like, I feel like even the fact that Antic offered you a sponsorship is like proof that skate teams can a lot of times be just a marketing plan, because they saw this rising YouTube star and like upcoming IG influencer, even though like we were like baby influencers back then.
Yeah.
Like we were like influencers, not even close. But they saw that potential in you. Rebel never even skated in an Antic, but they knew, ooh, we put her on the team, that's going to be so good for us because she's up and coming, she's amazing, because she is amazing, and like if she rocks an Antic, everyone's going to want to be like Rebel and get Antics, and it's going to be dope. And I remember feeling like I totally put Rebel in a guilt trip too, and I was like, you can't be on a skate team of a skate you've never even wore, and because at the same time we were having that like discussion in the skate community about like all these companies like choosing people that had never used their products to be sponsored. And it was like, well, how can you be an honest opinion if you don't know the brand? But again, that's kind of proof that they're using skaters for marketing. And I know like some people are like, that's messed up. And I'm like, well, it's just literally, that's capitalism. Like that's
it's the premise of the skate team. You have a skate team in order to market your skates.
Exactly. It's like branding. It's like race car drivers when they have like a label on their, or whatever it's called, not a label, a decal of like a brand on their thing, or like a skateboard. Like there's people that are like sponsored by Red Bulls. They have a Red Bull helmet on. Like you have the skates on your feet. So anytime you're skating in public or have a picture, like that's advertising.
Yeah. And if you're already like a content creator, you're like naturally creating content for them. Mm-hmm. Which I mean, like, I have a pair of Antics now, the AR2s, and I love them.
They're so cute.
They're so cute, and I love skating in them. And, you know, I think a lot of people actually have bought Antic AR2s because I wear them and because they're hella cute. And I do, like, wear them in some videos and some, like, stuff that I make, but I didn't want to feel limited to just using one type of skate.
And then it really sucked because you got your Antics, and then like you were about to go to your first derby practice with them, and then it got canceled. And you still to this day, here we are a year later, and you're like, I haven't used them in derby yet.
No, I have not.
The watch out world. You know, stunt on them hoes with your new custom Antics.
Yep.
When I was on the Moxley skate team, it was pretty cool because I think there were like hiccups like there is with anything new, like prior to me being there, like in the early days. I think it was more of a like, hey, you have to post and like tag Moxie and use these hashtags, and it was really like make sure you're advertising the brand. And by the time I got on the team, we had like travel money so that we could like travel and give coaches or rollouts or go to skate events. We were like, you'd get a free pair of skates every year or as needed. There was like opportunities for like gigs and stuff. So like all these things. And I remember like having the meeting where it was like the whole team, and Esther was like, we're not going to have a skate team anymore. And everyone's face was like, what's happening? And I remember I was just so sad. Like some of us were confused. Some of us were really sad because like, this is something we dreamed of being on, and it was like a team is almost like a little family. Like even though we didn't all like, there were some people on the team I didn't even know who they were, to be honest. But there were like a lot of people on the team that I did like. So it's kind of like having like in my head like, oh, another little skate family, and feeling just like a part of something, and it felt like a goal was achieved. So it was kind of like heartbreaking at first. Until we learned like the reasoning behind it, because it ended up being like, oh, you're still gonna get a lot of these benefits. Like you're still gonna have a like relationship with the brand. But Esther realized that like, why are we using the name team? Like we're not in the skateboarding industry or the surf industry. Like we don't have competitions. We're not like going up against another team like 187 team and or Gumball Toe Stop team or Antic team and then like battling it out trick versus trick. Like, so why do we have teams? Like why are we using the name teams? And like why are we trying to be elitist, like we're better than you because we're on this skate team, like when we could just all be skaters. Yeah. And so like once like we learned like the reasoning, I know like I felt more like, oh okay, like I'm still a part of something, and now I work there, so like in the end of the day, like now I am part of the team, but now it's like a work team, so there's still that. But I remember in the beginning being like, oh no, my dream has fallen apart. It was sad, but it was something that at least I got to say, like, I did that. Like, I was on the Moxie skate team. Even though people now are probably like, some people still think the skate team is a thing. It's not. But when you go on YouTube and you watch the videos, you see why, like, everyone was just like, oh my god, Moxie skate team one day.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's something within skating that I wish I had that I don't feel like I've experienced yet, is I don't feel like, and I kind of thought that that's what it was going to feel like when I was with Planet Roller Skate. Like, I thought it would feel like a team or something like that, and it didn't. But, like, I don't know. Like, I wish I was, like, part of a crew or, like, part of, I don't know, a team of some kind or something. But I definitely have not yet had that experience within roller skating.
I definitely like the idea of, like, skate crews more than, like, a skate shop team or a brand team where you're doing advertising. Like, it's cool because I think that the benefits where it's like, yeah, it's like skates. Like, who doesn't love free skates? Like, skates are expensive, or like free gear. Like, you want to be sponsored and know, like, I don't have to worry about all these expensive things. If I need wheels, I'm going to get wheels. If I need new knee pads, I can get new knee pads. Same thing with like S1 with like their helmets. Like, it's so great that these companies do like flow product. Like, sponsor sounds funny because when you think sponsors in these extreme sports industries, you're thinking people that are getting paid hundreds or thousands to rep these gear. Roller skate industry isn't like that.
It's like, here's some free stuff.
Yeah, it's more like, here's some free stuff, like, post about it. And, like, as grateful I am for that, it's like, now the roller skating industry is growing. But at the same time, do we want to become an industry like the skateboard industry or the surfing industry?
I don't know.
Like, do we want to be competitive? Do we want to start hosting, like, competitions? And then all of a sudden, everyone's going to be like, I don't want to teach you how to do this trick because you might get better than me, and then I'll lose my sponsorships.
I think that there should be an option for competition. Like, high-level competition.
I think it's cool when it's for fun, like a giant game of skate, but then it's, like, just fun. Like, it's just people competing for, like, a stupid prize. But once it's, like, for this $5,000 prize or $10,000 prize, like, when it gets, like, a little, like, too crazy, and then people start realizing, like, if it's, like, regular multiple events, like, I don't know. I feel like it's, like, some people are for it, and I think, like, there are amazing skaters in the world that, like, really, like, go and they train, like, if there is a competition to get these tricks down. And I think it's cool to acknowledge their athletic abilities, but I just don't want to see this, like, I don't know, like, people no longer, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Competitiveness.
I don't think that if you create a competitive option for skating, I don't think that it's going to ruin the community and the culture in the way that you think it is. Because, like, think about musicians, right? Like, there are musicians and there are bands who can make so much money. Literally way more than roller skating will ever make, right? But that doesn't mean that there aren't a bunch of people, like, jamming out, having, like, stupid bands that are just, like, for whatever in their garage.
Yeah, but I feel like music's completely different.
How is it different? I mean, yeah, it's different, but, like,
you're not training physically to learn these tricks. Like, you learn how to play an instrument, but then at the end of the day, it's just like, oh, I write my songs different. I have a different genre. We have a different sound. Like, I have a whole band. So even if I teach them how to play guitar, they're not going to be able to write a song like I can write a song.
You're not going to be able to land a trick the way you can land a trick.
I mean, if they teach you,
it's
like,
style and flair and...
Yeah, to an extent. But I just feel like the whole point of sports, like competitive sports, it's in the name. It's competitive.
Yeah, but, like...
It's not competitive music.
There are beer... But, like, okay, so softball. There are beer leagues. Softball, super fun, zero competition.
No, that's what I'm saying, though. Like,
yeah,
the beer league is,
but, like, softball exists. Like, there are options for competitive softball.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, the option exists, but that doesn't mean that everyone who plays softball is gonna be, like, a competitive softball player.
But that's what I mean. Like, a beer league would be like a skate crew. Like, friends that are just skating around and, like, having fun and, like, playing the game of skate at the skate park. But then you would have these real leagues. Like, again, we don't have that in roller skating, but that's what it's like when you look at these other extreme sports. So, and roller skating starts having, like, legit teams that's still gonna be, like, the masses. So it's not gonna be like you have these A-team skaters, like these skaters that are really good. It's just like, look at Derby. When Derby gets super competitive, what happens? Everyone, it's like this weird hierarchy all of a sudden.
Yeah, but just because there is a weird hierarchy in Derby doesn't make rec leagues any less fun. What I'm saying is, what you're saying is if one happens, then the other will disappear. And I'm saying that that's not true. You can have both.
Okay.
I think that you can have competition. Like, I would say high-level Derby, I want nothing to do with it. I am not interested in high-level Derby. I honestly don't even really want to be WIFTA. But do I absolutely love home team games in a rec league? Yes. Like, I love them. They're so fun. The competition is like, haha, let's get in a fake fight. You know, like, that can still exist. Like, we can allow people who want to be super competitive to be super competitive, and also have, you know, half of the community, or 75, realistically, 85% of the community who's just like, cool, great, have your super competition. The rest of us are just going to hang out and skate, you know?
And I think it'll have a ripple effect that does change things in the community more than you think it is. But that's two different views, and that's how the skate community is. Like, some of us want competition and some of us don't. And I think, like, everything does affect everything, and cultures shift. Just like the culture shifting now with, like, the new wave of skaters. Like, everything's changing.
Yeah, I would say that the culture has already shifted past, like, that moment that we loved, that there was, like, no competition because there was not even anything to reach for when it comes to, like, roller skating fame. You know what I mean? Like, that's already infiltrated the community and made it so people are like, oh, I can roller skate to get famous. And that really didn't exist before. And, you know, so now there's already that happening. So it's just, like, another option for people. Like, now you can get famous by being in a commercial, or you can get famous by doing, you know, 3 backflips and aerial and, like, a fucking, you know.
Well, you as a
whatever.
roller derby player, how do you feel about when people say roller derby should be in the Olympics?
Meh, whatever. I have no interest in being in the roller derby Olympics. I would like to I would like to explain my stance with, I have no interest in being a competitive roller skater or a competitive roller derby player. I just think that there should be the option for people who want to do that and who are willing to, like, throw their bodies around. They want to get something from it. But I would hope it wouldn't change anything for me, but who knows? I don't know.
I think it's one of those things where people get stuck in, like, the culture. Like, I think for me, it's like, I appreciate, like, the culture of things. And once you add this new element and this competitiveness, it's like, that's what I mean, like, when I say, like, the culture changes. So a lot of people have always been like, don't make roller derby end up being in the Olympics, and are already upset about WIFTA, is because derby culture used to be punk rock. It used to be very, like, riot girl. It used to be very, like, female empowerment, and now it's, like, open to more genders. But it was very, like, we build it up, we're tattooed, we get drunk after bouts, and it's just, like, anarchy, and it was fun. And now it's, like, elevated to, like, a huge part of it is, like, cross training and very serious and very competitive. And a lot of people are like, that's not what our culture was, but things change.
I think that the thing is that my problem is if that completely disappears. Like, the reason why I continue to like roller derby, despite it being, like, hyper athletic and all that sort of stuff now, is because I have the option of being in a rec league or going to Renegades and just being like, I'm gonna get drunk on my skates afterwards, and, like, this is not a big deal.
Yeah, but I could say, like, on a smaller version, that's what happened to BCRD that we are in. Like, it used to be, like, rec, like, fun. And then it started slowly, well, now we have WIFTA teams. And then it was, now we have a board. And now, I see how, that's what I mean, that could happen on a larger scale to the roller skating community. As it starts, it's just like, yay, some people want to be WIFTA, and then now we don't even have home team games. Now we can't dress up. And
yeah, but that doesn't mean that's one league. Like, that's not going to happen to the entire skate community.
You think our league's the only one that's happened to?
Yeah, but that's not, like, that doesn't mean that there's not still a bunch of, like, underground stuff that you can be a part of, you know?
This is a good episode. We're heated, y'all. This is why
I don't know. I think that let people do what they want and, like, create your own thing, because, like, yeah, I'm gonna be a part of a league or I'm going to be in something that caters to my values. And I know that there are a lot of derby players that think like I do because they reached out to me. Like, we've talked about it. I, know that people will be looking for that if, like, BCRD does go, like, hyper WIFDA and, like, doesn't have that option. Like, there are options.
Yeah.
And like, the roller derby community is big enough that just because the things that you see are the super athletic things doesn't mean that the underground doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, y'all. But, let us know in the comments on the YouTube or email us at skatedatepodcast at gmail.com.
Yep.
What you think about things being competitive roller skating, whether it's in derby or just park skating or jam skating, whatever. And maybe we'll read some of your answers and opinions next episode.
Maybe it's because I know that I'm never going to be hyper competitive. So I'm like, whatever, go do your thing. I'm going to be over here doing my own thing.
And for me, I think it's just like being around people that I've seen have been sponsored but in skateboarding, or like hearing the horror stories of the rollerblading community. It's just like you can see how fast people can get taken advantage and how south it can go and how it changes communities and friendships get broken over like wanting to win. That's why I'm just like, I don't want it. I don't want it in this community. Like, I do think it should be allowed and there should be fun things for people to do, but I don't want it to be like everyone's working to get to that level, and that's the main focus.
I don't think that's what I was arguing for. I don't think I was arguing for everyone like working to get to that
I didn't
like
say you were.
level. No, I know, but I'm just like clarifying just in case other people think that I was.
All right, so time for Find Your Skate Date. All right, so y'all are being a little too shy.
Yeah, stop being so shy. What the hell?
I'm like, we got all these listeners. I see like 300 and something people, sometimes 400, listening to an episode, and not a single one wants to write in. Don't be shy. I know it's really hard to talk about yourself.
But we can gas you up and you'll like feel all rosy-cheeked about our compliments for you.
Yeah. Find Your Skate Date is our section where it's kind of like a singles ad, but for friends or lovers to find someone that roller skates or skateboards or blades, whatever, that they can hang out with. And, everyone's getting vaccinated. Soon we'll be able to be safe, holding hands, skating around wherever we live.
Oh my God, if you're on a knee scooter, you're trying to find someone else on a knee scooter, we could probably find that for you.
But yeah, so you just write in, you send a little picture if you want, a little bio with your location, your skating goals, and we put your information out there so that hopefully another skater can be like, hey, you live close to me, or maybe you don't live close, but we're the same level and I want to like get to know you, be a pen pal, but instead of snail mail, through Instagram. And maybe you want to be a pen pal because Rebel made a random pen pal.
Yeah, I have a pen pal in the UK.
Snail mail's great. And yeah, so that's what Find Your Skate Date is all about.
Yeah, so you should write in. Don't be scared. Do it right now. Pause the episode and send us a message or an email. Okay, great. Good job, everybody.
That's the sound of love.
Find your skate date today.
Oh, very white.
Oh my God.
It's time for Find Your Skate Date.
And on that note, let's move on to Dear Shovel.
Dear Shovel is the part where we get your questions and then we try to answer them.
We usually do a pretty piss poor job of answering your questions.
I always do a really good job because of my Capricorn energy, and then Rebel goes on and on about feelings and emotions and mindfulness and coping healthy way and hugging and loving and all that stuff with her Pisces energy.
Okay, so we have a Dear Shovel. So if you want to ask your questions, please ask us your questions. Take a moment now. Send an email to dearskatedate@gmail.com. And you can remain anonymous like this person.
And yes, it's dearskatedate@gmail.com, but the segment is called Dear Shovel.
Yeah, we messed that one up. Sorry. Okay, Dear Shovel, first of all, I love this podcast and all the content that the both of you put out into the world. You remind me that skating is actually about community and having fun. And I really love being part of the skating community, so thank you for that. Aww. One of the reasons why I love this community so much is because it mainly consists of women and genderqueer people. It feels like a safe and healing space for me, injuries aside. Winky face. Me too. Skating has been super important for me in my process of unlearning all these thoughts that have to do with internalized fat phobia and self-esteem issues that growing up as a woman in the patriarchy has left me with. And because my local roller skate community is almost entirely female, it feels like everyone understands these things and we are able to support each other. Recently, I started dating this guy, and he thought it would be cool if he also got quad skates so we can go skating together. But I see him picking up skills and tricks in no time that actually took me months to learn, and it annoys the fuck out of me. Which is weird, because normally I love helping out new skaters, and I'm like a total cheerleader for all my skater friends, being super happy for them if they manage to do a new trick. But I find it hard to be excited for his progress as I'd be for that of my skater girlfriends. And I think it has a lot to do with him not having the same struggles as I did with regards to body image, feeling like you don't belong at the skate park, being embarrassed, etc. I don't want to turn into a bitter skater, and I do want to be able to enjoy our skate dates together. How do I deal with this? Much love. Not wanting to be bitter skater.
I got a lot to say. Got a lot. Okay. A lot to say about this.
Okay, let's go.
I am triggered. Okay. It has nothing to do with him being a guy. It's the fact that he's your boyfriend. He's your partner. And that is why. Because this horrible person sitting next to me, this person that if I wasn't in love with, I would hate. Just like the first time I laid eyes and I was like, she's annoying, I hate her. And then at practice, like, she's annoying, I hate her. Because she's one of those people, probably like what it sounds like your boyfriend is, that like, someone's like, hey, have you heard of blah, blah, blah? And then a week later, they're a pro at it. Whatever it is, all of a sudden they have mastered it and they're already bored and moving on to the next thing to go crush that and like surpass whoever taught them in the first place. So whether it started with Derby, she was like already like, I'm on a travel team. And I was like, I can barely scrimmage. And we started skating at the same time. Technically, at least I could kind of skate and before her. Then when we started dating, I was like, I skate the street. She should street skate with me. And she was like a little nerd with little knee pads. And she was falling all over the place. And the next thing I know, like the third time, she was like taking things that I was uncomfortable and scared to go down. And it made me feel like shit. And it made me feel like I was a horrible skater. It made me not want to skate with her because it felt like she was unintentionally rubbing my face in it that I was not talented, that I sucked, and that it was so easy when she did it. And it made me just like have this hostility towards her because it was just like, great, like what's the point? Like you're just showing off. And like even if I knew she wasn't showing off, it was just like that's her personality that she does show off because that's her personality. But it wasn't like she was rubbing it in my face showing off. It wasn't like, hey, look what I can do. It's just like she's a show pony in a way. Like she's good at things and she's a character. But all that did was like feed into my own insecurities. So it's really hard. Like you have to get comfortable with yourself. And you already know it's nothing to do with your partner. It's all you. It's your own insecurities. And you have to be positive and knowing like roller skating isn't about being the best at something. It's about having fun. Just thrive off of the support system. Just keep cheering him on whenever he does something great like you would your friends. And then just do whatever you can do. And like if you feel like it comes to where your partner isn't ever encouraging you, then it's an issue and then it makes it hard to just make sure like you communicate like, hey, it'd be nice if everyone saw you supporting me and like I can't do that, but like the little things I can do, just make it seem like you actually care so that I feel like I'm doing something. Or maybe get comfortable enough and confident enough to where like now, yeah, you started skating first, but maybe your partner can show you things because he advanced farther and now he can teach you. For me, I can teach Rebel to do things that I can't even do because that's just how my mind works. My anxiety and fear stops me. But I'm really good at watching people do things and seeing like what they're doing wrong versus what someone else is doing right. So I've gotten Rebel to do a lot of things that she couldn't do until I coached her through it. But I could never do in a million years. And things like that, like having that partnership of like helping her and teach her things, that made it like a little bit easier seeing her do things that like I could never do.
I'll talk from your boyfriend's perspective for a second. He has no idea that he is doing this to you. And he also would never dream of doing it to you if he knew that it was hurting your feelings.
He knows he's an asshole.
Was making you feel that way. No, for sure he doesn't know. And he probably also is showing off a little bit to you because he wants to show you, like, how good he's getting at the thing that you are interested in. Like, that he's enjoying this hobby that you are interested in. So he probably sees it as, like, a bonding moment for you, too. So, I think that talking to him about it will be helpful. I know that, like, when Shove finally, like, talked to me about what was going on, I was like, one, shook because I had no idea, and two, I was like, oh my god, like, what can I do that will make you feel better? And so we kind of talked through that, and I think that helped.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic when you think about it, because it's like Rebel's the better skater and she does all these things like I wish I could do, but then like I'll get these opportunities and she's like, I wish I got those opportunities. And it's like we see these things that like the other person does that we're like, oh, how come not me? And it's just like life is just like that. like, you know, like no one's a full winner. Like no one has it all. Like it's not tit for tat. Like,
yeah.
And also I would like to touch base on the whole, it sucks, like, because when you do have, like, guys, for some reason, especially if they either rollerbladed or even skateboarded, they, like, or even if they never did either, like, these, for some reason, every time they strap skates on, like, all of a sudden they're, like, 180, 360, jumping off a bowl, not even, like, dropping in right, they just jump right in like a psychopath, and I think that's because men's brains, like, cis male brains, just have different wiring. They're like something, they don't have all these things. Like,
yeah,
it's weird.
I think that they have I have never feared anything in my life gene.
Right?
So when they put skates on, they're not scared because they're like, this is going to work out for me. Like everything in my life has worked out for me so far. You know, and if something goes wrong, like, whatever, I'll try it again and then it'll go perfectly right for me because that's how life is. For them.
I feel like you have half of that, but I used to say like that you are like a kid, like you didn't have that like fear of like the things that stop a lot of people is like, oh no, I might get hurt, so I'm scared. And Rebel will just like, even on her shoes, just like jump on a curb and do all this like stuff that you see like kids do that's really like just free and like just going for it. And I think like that's what made you good is like at a lot of things and someone would be like, oh, and then just do this, and you wouldn't hesitate. You would just like do it right away without thinking of the full consequences.
That's how I feel about a lot of like new skaters who go right to the skate park. Like, oh man, would I love to be going to the skate park with the skills I have now as a new skater with that no fear like attitude. Like, yeah. I'm just gonna drop in off this huge thing. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, I wish that I had that again because, oh my god, it's amazing. Like, the things you can accomplish.
Yeah. And it's also the other thing. Like, there can still be fat phobia towards men, but there is a confidence thing. It's a more like, of course, if you're in a male body, you're gonna feel, or a male presenting body, you're gonna feel more comfortable at a skate park than someone that's female presenting, or even like, especially if you're fat and female presenting, or just a fat person in general, you're gonna feel like all eyes are on you, even if they're not even paying attention. Like, we do have greater, or different, I shouldn't say greater, different insecurities there. So it's just a lot that you need to unload. But yeah, like Rebel said, like, you need to talk to your partner about it and just let them know, because they might, like, unless they're totally oblivious, like, they should probably sense a little bit of the like, hey, how come you look a little annoyed right now?
Yeah, they'll probably just be like, that's why.
They're just like, you look annoyed. Let me do another cool trick that you can't do. And just making it worse.
And the thing is that I know that I've done that before where I'm like, maybe I can make them laugh or maybe I can make them smile if I do something else cool. Like, look, I'll invent something. And that probably just pisses you off or them off more.
Yeah, and now I just don't care. Like, now even when I go to skate park, I have fun because I don't try to compare myself to other people. I just do what I want on my own level, and I enjoy it, and I work on little things, and I let the more advanced people do whatever the hell they want. But yeah, you're going to be okay. Communication is key.
Yes.
All right. Did we get 5 stars on our Apple reviews?
We did. We got a 5-star review from I'm Carnival R.
5 stars.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm Carnival R. You're amazing. I have no idea if that's how you pronounce your name.
I'm Carnivalar.
I'm Carnivoler. Maybe.
Carnivore?
I don't know. Carnival definitely is the strongly pronounced word in the middle there.
All I know is we love you.
We love you so much. Thank you so much for giving us 5 stars. We appreciate it. It makes us do a little happy dance.
I'm dancing right
like
now.
That.
I'll be down.
I'm shimmying. I may be cold. My hands may be in my pockets, but I am shimmying them shoulders.
You too could get a special shout out from Shovel if you give us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you don't have Apple, just comment on our YouTube. We don't do shout outs, but we appreciate it because then Shove know to not quit the podcast.
You might get a special shimmy. A shovel shimmy.
A special shimmy, yes.
Yes.
All right, so, this was a good episode. Like, we got heated.
It's been a minute since we got heated.
Yeah, like, I
strongly disagreed with you in that episode.
I strongly disagreed with you. Like, we're going to go in and still have an argument. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be like, and another thing.
No, you won't.
Like, now that I know how you really feel, I don't know if I want to go on another skate date.
Whatever.
I might be putting out applications for a new co-host.
Yeah, right.
Bowie.
She'll put out an application for someone who won't make her do it.
Yeah. I just hired 2 people.
Stupid.
Okay, so if you are a lesbian with short red hair and a really beautiful face and a great smile, a little chubby, big boobs, apply. If you are also a bisexual, half black, half white, like have a finesse with wigs, very fat and very voluptuous, also apply because I need stand-ins.
Stupid.
Thank you for coming to the skate date.
Thanks for coming to the skate date. We loved it.
I know. Maybe next year it'll be skate marriage.
What?